Alright guys, welcome back in, welcome back to the channel, welcome back for another video. We are predicting the Champions League round of 16 and I'm going to predict the entire bracket because I am anxious to see how this competition is going to play out. And these predictions, I am going to be making them as objectively as I possibly can. Obviously, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm a Madrid fan, but I'm going to predict this competition how I see it. Now, I don't really want to beat around the bush, but before we get into these predictions, can we please just admire the disparity of this knockout stage bracket? Because guys, this is like looking at the Mickey Mouse League against the League of Justice. This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this was the actual draw. Because listen, if you look at the Mickey Mouse League side of the bracket, they have a whopping total of 5 Champions Leagues won. 5 Champions Leagues won. By the way, they're all won by Barca. They're all won by Barca. And on the other side, there's a whopping 31 Champions Leagues won. Which, by the way, half of them is pretty much by Real Madrid. So, which as a Madrid fan, I don't know why I'm getting hyped over this because we absolutely suck ball. Alright, enough chitter chatter. Let's get started. Arsenal versus Bayern Leverkusen. I don't think we need to beat around the bush too much on this one, guys. Leverkusen are 6th in the Bundesliga table. They do not have Xabi Alonso anymore. I think this is pretty straightforward. I'm going with Arsenal on this one. Bodo Glimt against Sporting Lisboa. This is actually quite an interesting one because I don't expect too many upsets in this Champions League round of 16. I think if there's going to be an upset, it's going to be this one. Now, there's something that really bothers me about Bodo Glimt. And it's the fact that they haven't played a single league match this year. Their league hasn't even started. They have been able to rest the entire time, but at the same time, I don't know if that's really an advantage or not. If you're not playing games, maybe that plays against you because maybe you need to get your rhythm going. But the way this Norwegian side sneaked into the round of 16 in the Champions League is pretty epic, let me tell you, because they did not win a single match in their first 4 Champions League games. They got 1 tie against Spurs, which Spurs are pretty pathetic. And then somehow they managed to beat Man City and Atletico Madrid to sneak into the playoff round, also known as Champions League Purgatory, all for them to eliminate last year's finalists, Inter de Milan. Now, this team has been praised by how difficult it is to play in Norway. They are the first ever Champions League team to be part of the Arctic Circle, which is pretty mind-blowing. And I'm gonna be honest, if they were playing any other team in this round except maybe Spurs, I would have them knocked out. But I think that they're going to be the only upset of this Champions League round of 16. So I am going with Bodo Glimt. Now, Atletico de Madrid versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Also known as Pathetic versus Pathetico. Now, before I give you my prediction on this tie, I want to make another prediction right here, right now. Atletico Madrid are going to lose in the Copa del Rey final against Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad are going to win the Copa del Rey this season. Jot it down right here, right now. Now, I don't think it's Atletico Madrid that's going to lose against Real Sociedad. I think it's going to be Simeone losing against Real Sociedad. Because listen, Simeone is an incredible coach, but only for small clubs. And Atletico Madrid is not a small club anymore. They are aspiring to win title after title after title. They have an elite budget, an elite stadium. They play in one of the most attractive cities in Europe. So listen, you do have to give Cholo Simeone some credit because he did put Atleti in the pedestal that they are now. He made him competitive. I'm telling you, he's an incredible small team coach, but he is not a winner, man. He is not a winner. And so as long as Simeone is going to be playing for Atletico Madrid, he is going to cap their ceiling because Atletico Madrid is not a small team anymore. It's not 2011 anymore. Simeone put them where they are, yes. But if they want to get to the next level, Simeone is not the answer. And I'm telling you, they're going to lose the Copa del Rey final, but they are going to beat Spurs because I would find it very difficult. I don't know how it could even happen that Atletico Madrid loses to Tottenham. Now, if they do lose to Tottenham, it is Pathetico Madrid. I mean, but I am predicting that Atletico Madrid will move forward into the quarterfinals of this year's Champions League. And that, ladies and gentlemen, leaves us with Barca against Newcastle in the Mickey Mouse side of the UCL bracket, which I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think Barcelona are going to win. I can see them winning by 1 goal, maybe like a 2-1 score against Newcastle, and then I think that they're going to dominate at home. I think Barca are a very strong team. I'm a little scared of them. I don't want them to win the Champions League, but I think that they don't have the defense to do it, but they definitely have the offense. So I don't think Newcastle has the offensive power to create problems for Barcelona in the back line, so I am going to go with Barca. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the big boy side of the Champions League knockout stage bracket. We got PSG against Chelsea, the rematch of the Club World Cup final. This is a very interesting matchup. I would even dare say it's the most interesting matchup of this round of 16 because I think anything can happen here. People also need to remember that Luis Enrique got pretty heated after losing the Club World Cup final against Chelsea. He had a little bit of beef with, I think, Pedro Neto or Joao Pedro. I don't even know. One of the Pedros. So PSG do have the motivation to get revenge on Chelsea for ruining the quadruple legendary season that they would have had. But listen, I think Chelsea are going to go through. I think they're going to knock out the reigning champions of Europe. And no, I don't think this is going to be considered an upset. Again, Chelsea did beat PSG in the Club World Cup final, and that was a better version of PSG. That was a full version of PSG, because PSG right now are dealing with injuries such as Dembele, Ballon d'Or winner. They are also missing the heart of the midfield that won the Champions League, which is Fabian Ruiz and Joao Neves. And they aren't as good as they were last year. They struggled to knock out Monaco out of the playoff round. They lost to Monaco over the weekend, and now they're going up against the Club World Cup champions. Now, Chelsea have had an okay season. It hasn't been a bad season for them. It hasn't been a great season for them, but I think Chelsea are going to upset PSG. And again, I don't think it's that big of an upset, because when you look at the recent trends, I think Chelsea are the maybe not obvious winners, but they are the more likely to win. So I'm going to go with Chelsea on this one. Galatasaray versus Liverpool. Listen, I'm not going to beat around the bush on this one. I think Liverpool are going to take it, but hear me out. I think that they are definitely going to struggle in Turkey. I think Galatasaray have proven to be a pretty tricky rival, especially when they play at home, and I think Liverpool haven't been as good as they were last year. I mean, they're having an okay season, kind of the same thing that I said about Chelsea. I think that the level that they showed last year has not been met. I think Liverpool are going to go through, but they are going to struggle. They're definitely going to struggle against Galatasaray. I think you don't be surprised if they do. Don't be surprised if they struggle, especially in Turkey, and then they win it at Anfield, but I'm still going to have Liverpool going through. Bayern Munich versus Atalanta. Atalanta did make the round of 16 in a pretty spectacular fashion. They did come back to be able to knock out Borussia Dortmund during Champions League purgatory. I think that they are a decent team, but they're a little irregular. If you look at how they've been playing in Serie A, their record kind of speaks for itself. I'm gonna go with Bayern on this one. And that and that leaves us with Real Madrid versus Man City, the league match that we all expect every single year. It's back, and we are set for another chapter for us Madridistas. I am pretty sure it's going to be a disappointing chapter, because guys, no Kylian Mbappe, no Jude Bellingham, no Rodrigo, which is Man City's daddy, no Eder Militao, there's no David Alaba, which I don't think makes much of a difference, there's no Dani Ceballos, which he's canceled for me, so like I'm not really gonna talk about him. But at the time of this recording, Fabrizio Romano released a couple hours ago that Alvaro Carreras is also injured. I mean, seriously, guys, I told you that I would try to be as objective as possible in terms of predicting this entire Champions League season. And listen, if I was a Barca fan and Barca was declining the same way Real Madrid has been declining this season, with the amount of injuries that we have, if I was a Barca fan, I would tell you right now that we're going through to the next round. Why? Because I would be delusional. I'm a Barca fan. I mean, that's... But since I'm not a Barca fan and I'm not delusional, I am realistic. I'm gonna give it to you as it is. Aquí yo no vendo humo, papi. Eso es una cosa muy cool. Entonces, señoras y señores, I am going to predict Man City to go through to the next round, because without our best players, like, how do you expect to make it through against Man City? Now, don't get me wrong. I am going to be at the stadium. Please subscribe so you can check out the match day vlog that we're gonna be releasing after the match. But I gotta be honest, this is the least amount of confidence I've had in the Real Madrid team in years. I think since the 2018-2019 season, in which Cristiano left, that was the first season without Cristiano Ronaldo, and we absolutely bombed everything. I think this is the least amount of confidence I have in the Real Madrid team in recent years. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to go with Man City. I'm gonna be objective. Now, with that being said, we are left with Chelsea versus Liverpool. Now, I think this is pretty even. I think they've had pretty similar seasons. I guess you could say that Liverpool's season has been a little bit more disappointing because there was less expectations of them going into this season. But I think this is gonna be a very interesting tie, because they are literally tied in points in the Premier League table. And when two English teams play each other in the Champions League, I think it makes it a little bit more interesting, because you know that the level of play is going to be high. Now, I don't think Liverpool have had a great season. I actually think that this is going to be Arne Slot's last season at Liverpool. I'm going to go with Chelsea on this one. Now, Man City versus Bayern Munich. I don't think City are as good as they were in years past. Now, guys, I got to be honest. If Kylian Mbappe wasn't injured, if he was guaranteed to play against Man City, I would have a lot more hope than I have right now, and maybe we'd be trying to predict a Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid, in which we'd probably get spanked. But Kylian Mbappe seems to be injured. I hope that we can make it out with some sort of live out of the first leg, because if we do, maybe Kylian will play and maybe he will help us win against Man City, making it into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. But Bayern Munich, once again, I think this is like an every year thing. They are favorites to win the Champions League. I am gonna go go with Bayern Munich beating Man City and knocking out another English team out of the Champions League, which brings us back to the Mickey Mouse side of this year's Champions League bracket. Let's start with Arsenal versus Bodo. I think Bodo have had an incredible campaign all up until now. I think they will beat Sporting, and when they face Arsenal, that dream will come to an end. I think Arsenal will make it to the semifinals of the Champions League, and that leaves us with Barca versus Atleti. Listen guys, if Atletico Madrid didn't beat Barcelona in the Copa del Rey, if they didn't knock out Barcelona to make the Copa del Rey final, I would say right now that Atleti has a really good chance of winning. But as you saw in the second leg of that Copa del Rey tie, Atleti are they're a bunch of they lack balls, bro. They like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I don't think Barca are gonna go into this tie as asleep as they were in the first leg of the Copa del Rey. And with the way that they're playing offensively, with the way that Lamine Yamal has been playing over these last 2-3 weeks, I think Barca are going to knock out Atletico Madrid. Which leaves us with the semifinals. Chelsea versus Bayern Munich, Barcelona against Arsenal. This is so depressing seeing how we have no chance in our competition. Now let's start. Chelsea versus Bayern Munich. This is a rematch of the 2012 Champions League final, legendary Champions League final. This was back in the day when Champions League finals were actually entertaining. But obviously this is not a final. This is a 2-leg tie. I think Bayern Munich are going to go through. I think they're the better team. I think they're the strongest team in Europe this season overall. Defensively, offensively, they do have Harry Kane up top. They do have Olise. They have incredible quality going forward. And I think Chelsea up until now would have done a pretty good job in making the Champions League semifinals, but I don't think they have what it takes to beat Bayern, so I'm going to go Bayern Munich on this one. Second semifinal, we got Arsenal versus Barcelona. This is a rematch of the 2006 Champions League final. Again, back in the day when Champions League finals were actually entertaining. And by the way, now that we're on that topic, you know how Barca fans like to, and even Atletico fans, they like to remind us that Ramos was offside in the 2016 Champions League final goal that he scored? Well, Eto'o was offside in this one too, El Madrid roa, no? El Madrid roa. But Arsenal versus Barcelona, I think this is the only logical ending to this knockout stage side of the bracket. Like this Mickey Mouse League thing, like it has to be Barcelona and Arsenal in the end. And it's pretty funny because this is the Premier League's biggest bottlers against Europe's biggest bottlers. Which I think makes it pretty interesting because I don't think this is going to come down to who plays the best football. I think this is going to come down to who has the best mentality. Because these are two teams that have experienced very significant disappointments in terms of having leads and blowing them away. And I think the semifinal is really going to come down to who has learned their lessons. And listen, I love Arsenal. Arsenal is my prem team. My dad's a huge Arsenal fan. Shout out to the boy. But I don't believe in this Arsenal team that much. And it's because their best player is Bukayo Saka. Now, Bukayo Saka is an incredible talent. And I think he has everything in his power to be the best player in the world. Pero él es un pecho frío. If that's your best player, if that's your football reference on the field, I think it's more than likely to see Arsenal not fail to beat Barcelona than Barcelona fail to beat Arsenal, because I mean Rafinha is a great leader, and Lamine Yamal, as much as he wants to talk, as much as he wants to bark around, let me tell you, that guy has the right mentality. So in my humble opinion, Barcelona are going to go through to the Champions League final, setting up a Bayern Munich FC Barcelona tie. Every time I see this matchup, it reminds me of something. Okay, all jokes aside, I'm just going to go out and say I think Barcelona have an incredible team. I think that Hansi Flick is an incredible manager. The way that they play moving forward, I think says a lot about who they are, the identity of the team. I think it's pretty clear of what they are trying to achieve every time they play on the field. But they are so bad defensively, guys. They are so poor defensively. They did everything but fix their defensive issues from last season, because I see a lot of Barca fans and a lot of people say that Barca had the best team in the world. Bro, they couldn't defend for shit. And what did they do to fix their defensive issues? They shipped their best center back off to Arabia. So I am telling you right now, I do not believe that Barca has what it takes to beat a Bayern Munich team who is structured the best in all of Europe. I am telling you right now, I think Bayern Munich are going to beat Barca, and I think it's going to be the first time in a really long time that we've had a good Champions League final. But yeah, guys, I have Bayern Munich winning the entire thing. Guys, let me know who you think is going to win this year's Champions League. Let me know who goes through between Real Madrid and Man City. Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you have to say. And yeah, guys, I know that this is a Real Madrid fan channel, but I don't have much hope. I wanted to do this as objectively as possible. And if Kylian Mbappe was playing, I would have a little bit more hope. But with his knee issues and with the entire injury list that we have going into this game, I am telling you, if we make it out of Man City, of the first leg against Man City alive, I mean, seriously, did you guys see us play against Osasuna, Getafe, even Celta de Vigo? We did not play well. We won out of our ass. Like, seriously, you really think we're going to beat Man City on Wednesday? Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go to the stadium and root for the team and hope that we pull off another miracle at the Estadio Santiago Bernabeu, but I don't think it's going to happen, guys. I think it's going to be a very disappointing season for Real Madrid, and I think there's a lot of things to fix. There's a lot of people that need to heal up, and we need to figure out this thing with the injuries, man. So we're doing something wrong. We're just doing something wrong. Yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the thumbs up button, hit the hype button if you can. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are going to the Man City match on Wednesday, so we will be releasing a match day vlog. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.